FAA-certified flight instructor and actually fly the plane yourself. It's a perfect way to see if flying is for you. And once you get that ultimate feeling of freedom, Ocala Aviation can train you to get your pilot's license. Ocala Aviation also offers commercial flight training for those looking to make a career change and enter the world of commercial aviation. Ocala Aviation is conveniently located at the Ocala International Airport. So if you're ready to start your adventure, stop by or give them a call today. 861-7484. That's 861-7484. You'll be glad you did. I know I am. Ocala Aviation. Call today. 861-7484.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Wednesday morning. Robin, I want you to think back to, maybe 20 years ago or so. We were doing a radio show, and we had a call from Richard Simmons, the weight loss guy. And,
yeah.
And the call was basically, hey, I'm going to be in the area. Can I come on the show? And, of course, for us, small-time radio announcers, getting a call from an internationally known celebrity, Richard Simmons, a very famous guy, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we went gaga over the famous guy. And it wasn't just on the phone. He wanted to come to the studio.
Yeah.
So, oh, sure, that'd be great. So we were very excited. At the time, we used to broadcast from kind of a shack, to just tell you bluntly. And it was near the interstate, and it was kind of out of the way. And anyway, so here comes this beautiful, long limousine, black limousine, pulls up into the yard. And the license plate was YRUFAT.
Yes.
Why are you fat?
Yeah.
And so when we got him on the air, we were talking about that. We were laughing about it. He said basically that question saved his life. He was on an elevator. I think he had been an actor, I think, if I remember what he said. And on the elevator, he was, at that time in his life, I think he was on a soap opera. And somebody in the elevator said, "Why are you fat?" And he thought, I never thought about why. And so he started doing things so he wouldn't be, and of course, made a whole career out of it and changed many people's lives with his weight loss strategies. There is a science behind why some people are heavy and some people are not as heavy. I mean, you've seen many people who eat just less than you,
yes,
or less than me, I should say, and they don't seem to gain any weight. You know, it's an interesting phenomenon. Dr. Sandeep Grewal, is one of the doctors who have figured something out about weight loss, and that's why we have him on for a 25-minute segment right now. He is board certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine. He's the recipient of the Innovation in Healthcare Award by the Charlotte Business Journal. He's named one of the 40 under 40. He appeared in several television and radio shows, including this one right here.
Yep.
He's the co-inventor of something called the Slim Plate System, and the author of a book called Fat Me Not, Weight Loss Diet of the Future, and I think the future is now based on what I read. Good morning, Dr. Sandeep Grewal.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. Good morning.
You're welcome. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
We're calling from Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Oh, you got that southern accent. I hear it. You got a little southern accent going. I'm teasing. Sounds like, are you originally from India?
It's originally from India.
See, I can hear that. I can always hear that. Well, thank you for being on the air with us. Do you know, speaking of different parts of the world, when you look at people, like people always say people in France can eat a lot and never get heavy. Is there something about the cultures that causes us to gain weight?
Well, definitely there's an issue of culture. So if I travel a lot, and when I go from different countries, I do see different things. For example, if you are in Europe, when you order a cup of coffee, you would never get more than an 8-ounce coffee from any place. In U.S., the standard is 12 ounce, so we are basically taking in 30% more drinks. If you look at soft drinks and sodas, their average size is about 8 to 10 ounce, and our average size starts at 12 ounce and usually goes up to 16 ounce.
Wow.
So we are consuming double the amount of sugar than other countries, and which does show in our weight.
Well, that would explain a lot then, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Is that across the board? Is that our food and everything else? We just have larger portions?
Well, other thing I have noticed is that we as Americans work harder than most other countries, which causes a strange combination, which is a deadly combination of stress, starvation, and sugar. So what happens is, because we work harder than most people than the rest of the world, we are more stressed out. We are always trying to catch up to, drop kids to the school, get to the office on time, get work done. And then it triggers a second phenomenon, which is starvation. So we don't have time to eat, so we don't eat. So that causes a drop in metabolic rate. And then, because we are hungry, we pick up a soda because it's quick, or we pick up junk food because it's a quick way to reduce our hunger. And that, the coupling of the stress, starvation, and sugar causes big-time weight gain.
Okay, and is there? I don't hope this doesn't sound like a dopey question, but can you define sugar? And let me qualify the question. I mean, I understand that the sugar that you pour into your coffee or put on your cereal, that sugar, but I've often heard that like even pasta is actually a form of sugar.
Well, you're right. The carbs, what we commonly call as carbs or starches, these are also a form of sugar. But what I'm focusing on is the real sugar, the sweet one, the fructose and the sucrose.
Okay.
The high fructose corn syrup. And the reason I'm doing that is because there was a research done on rats, in which the rats were given a sugary soda. So that's almost pure sugar. And they noticed that whenever the rat got a sugary soda, it ate more in the first hour after drinking that soda. And as it got sugary soda every day, it caused binge eating behavior. It started getting uncontrolled eating. And that's what we are doing. We are drinking a soda a day, and that is changing our eating behavior. So it's not just about the calories we get from the soda. It is also making us eat more.
All right, now I'm going to ask you about something I've observed. I've observed people who are regularly drinking diet soda and nothing but diet soda, and they're not losing any weight.
I think that's a great question, because there's a research done on that too. In fact, they got a group of people who drank a diet soda every single day, and then they did MRIs on your brain, on their brain, and they checked to see what's happening to their brain. They found out that people who drink diet soda every day, their brain rewires, because they're trying to fool their brain into thinking it's getting sugar, but the brain is much smarter than that. And then the brain switches their cravings from sugary drinks to junk food. So many of my patients, when they come in and they cannot control their urge to eat junk food, I always tell them to stop their diet soda first, and then only their urge to eat junk food would go away.
Sometimes that high fructose corn syrup is claimed to be preservatives in foods, so they have a longer shelf life. Does the food processing in the United States need to be changed where that element is not in the food?
Well, I think so, because if you notice that the obesity rates in the U.S. started going up when the high fructose corn syrup was introduced to the market. And some of the research is showing that high fructose corn syrup actually inhibits your satiety center. So whenever any drink has high fructose corn syrup, it is not going to make you satisfied, so you will keep on eating or drinking.
Oh.
So, now, part of the information that was sent to us in order to speak to you with some understanding of what we might talk about, Doctor, and the book Fat Me Not, by the way, is how bacteria in our in digestive system can actually affect whether we have cravings for food. Explain that.
Yes, so most of the weight loss diet we are doing right now is based on the research done in 1960s and 70s. But there's been a lot more research done, and currently it is coming up that we know we got 100 trillions of bacteria in our stomach and intestine. Till today we thought they are just sitting there and doing nothing, but they are actually involved in our body functions. So scientists have found out these bacteria in our stomach are hacking our nervous system. How they do that is by sending neurotransmitter chemical signals from the stomach and intestine into the brain, to the satiety center and the craving centers, and they can alter our craving to get the food they want to survive.
Oh, really? And isn't it interesting?
Fascinating.
So I'm trying to visualize this. So when we say bacteria, I'm going to picture a tiny little bug. Am I accurate in that? Is it a living organism?
Yes, you're correct. Microscopic, cannot even see them, and there are trillions of them.
And
our intestines is covered with them.
Oh, and they like the things that do us harm.
Well, yeah, if we have the bad bacteria, what we call the fat me yes bacteria, if you have the bad bacteria in our stomach by drinking sugary drinks and eating too much carbs and things like that, these bad bacteria need that kind of material to survive because that's their food, and they can induce us to eat the same food. So it takes a little while for the cravings to go away when we correct our diet because these bacteria have to go.
Oh, wow. And now I'm going to tell you that I think I've corrected my diet. On New Year's, I made this resolution, and I've been pretty good sticking to it. And I've really avoided most things that you would say would be that I had a bad habit of. And at first I did have cravings. I really don't have them anymore. But somebody has a birthday, I will have a piece of birthday cake. So am I sabotaging myself by having that one piece of cake now and then, or does that not matter?
Okay, so there is a research behind that too, and I love research, so I like to mention what's the real scientific basis for that. So to a rat, when you give a mixture of fat and sugar, which is basically your cake, as you mentioned, or cookie, the mixture of fat and sugar makes this rat eat almost half of its calorie within the next 2 hours, and also changes the eating behavior over the next few days. So if you are on a good diet and you go to a party and get a big piece of cake, it's not just the calorie you're getting from that cake, it is also changing your eating behavior, and that is why our diet derails every time we eat a big piece of cake or cookie. But if we eat a small piece, say, and what I suggest to my patient is not more than 2 finger width worth of cake or a very 1/4 piece of a cookie, that craving won't happen. That eating behavior won't change.
Oh, really?
That is safer.
Oh, wow. Doctor, we have to take a little break. I want to hear more about what you have to say. And if you're listening and you'd like to ask a question, feel free to call in. The number is 622-9622. Dr. Sandeep Grewal is on the phone up in North Carolina. The book is called Fat Me Not, Weight Loss Diet of the Future. And I haven't yet asked about that part of the title, the word future. It sounds like it's here right now, but
yes.
we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today. There may be a shower in spots along the coast. The high 81 at the coast, 86 inland. Partly cloudy and mild tonight, though 63 to 67. Some sunshine tomorrow and warm with a high of 81 on the coast, 86 inland. For Friday, more sun than clouds and warm, high 81 at the coast, 87 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Got a garden, and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Black Cow composted cow manure is a terrific organic soil amendment. We start with cow manure from dairy farms and then compost it a full 90 days. The result is an all-natural, dark, rich soil amendment that's great for everything you grow. Flowers, vegetables, shrubs, trees, and lawns too. Look for Black Cow in the bright yellow and black bag at your favorite nursery or garden center.
Black Cow, the mature manure. Black Cow.
Time now to spiff up your bling for spring. Make your rings look brand new. Our master jeweler at Goss & Son will rhodium finish your rings for just $69.95, regular price $75. It's like waxing your car. It brings that shine back and looks all brand new all over again. So come see us. Our downtown location, Goss & Son Jewelers, serving you downtown for 65 years.
All All right, 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. If you are struggling with weight and you've been wanting to lose weight and we've got your attention just with that simple statement or question, Dr. Sandeep Grewal is on the phone to help us understand this struggle of ours. The book that he has written is called Fat Me Not, Weight Loss Diet of the Future. And there is another author, Dr. Mio M. Nui, whose name I probably just mispronounced, but I just wanted you to know there's another doctor credited with authoring this book, Fat Me Not. Doctor, so far what it sounds like you've said is that if we were to eat correctly and gave it some time, if we could commit ourselves to it, that eventually the cravings caused by the new change of eating habits would go away after a couple of weeks or so, and then we'd be on track as long as we stuck with it. Is that accurate?
Well, that's accurate, and we need to realize that many times we blame ourselves for, derailing our diet, so if we can't stick to it. But many times it's not us. It's the food that we are eating is changing our eating behavior. So just like I mentioned about eating a big piece of cake, and then your craving starts just jumping through the roof, and then we ultimately blame our willpower for that. I always tell my patients to look for 3 things before you start on a diet. Number 1, it has to be easy to do, because if it's not easy to do, we cannot stick to it, and it is doomed to fail. Number 2, it should allow you to eat real food, not any kind of food that you have to buy, and not any kind of food that you usually don't eat, because that makes it easier to stick to a diet. And number 3, it should change your eating behavior. Because if you go on a diet that does not change your eating behavior, it is a temporary diet, and that is not true weight loss.
Does bad eating behavior contribute to ADHD in some people?
Well, there are some research being done on that, but there's no conclusive evidence that ADHD is affected by diet. But I'm sure in the future we might see that things like this are happening.
Okay, so we've had a number of different specialists that came to our attention, whether through the TV or radio, and sometimes it's not advertising, sometimes it's just interviews, or maybe we hear about them. A good one is the Atkins diet, and then there was the sauerkraut diet, I think there was all kinds of diet. And they almost always have something extreme about them, but people who've done them will say, okay, it worked for me. But at the same time, I think you're trying to say that if we do something radical like that, it won't be long term. Is that correct?
And that's correct to a good extent, because we have to realize one thing, that there are many diets in the market that work. And the question is, can you stick to it? And we do see many people who go on extreme diet, they lose a lot of weight, which does happen, but they can't stick to it, so they gain the weight back. And that is very dangerous phenomenon, because when you lose weight and then when you gain it back, it becomes much harder for people to go back on the diet again.
Right, now,
and that discourages them.
Now we've talked about cake a couple of times, and I wanted to kind of say something again that I said earlier, but say it a different way. We've heard that bread and cake are basically the same thing. So are you saying stay away from bread and even the crust on a pizza and all those kind of things?
Well, we never ask anybody to stay away from anything, because one thing in our philosophy when we wrote the book or when we developed our Slim Plate system was that people should be able to eat everything that's available to them, but in the right portion. And I always tell my patients that eat everything, but in the right portion and in the right way. And that's very important, too.
All right, let's take a phone call from a listener. The book, again, is called Fat Me Not. It's written by Dr. Sandeep Grewal on the phone with us, and Dr. Mio M. Nui. Am I saying the other doctor's name correctly?
Yes, you said it pretty correct.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for calling in, for waiting. You're on the air with Dr. Grewal.
Good morning, doctor. I'm just wondering, what about natural sugars? Are they any different than processed sugars? And I'm referring to something like red raspberries or blue berries or something along those lines. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Good question.
I think that's a great question. So the question is, are there processed sugars different from regular sugars? We need to avoid high fructose corn syrup just because of the impact it does on changing our eating behavior. Sugars from fruit is usually sucrose and fructose, which is actually very good sugar. If you want to eat regular sugar, then cane sugar is a very good sugar to eat. And we always tell our patients, instead of using artificial sweeteners, it is better to eat a little bit of regular sugar. But at the same time, I must warn you, I had a patient of mine who was eating, in his terms, very healthy. He was only eating salads and fruits, and he was gaining weight. But when I kept on talking to him to find out, I found out that he was eating way too much fruit. And even though we know fruit is healthy and the sugar from fruit is good, but too much of that can also lead to weight gain.
Oh, really?
Losing weight is extremely emotional, and sometimes before people change their eating habits, they will go to their doctors and they'll get that stomach banding or something like that. Do you recommend against that?
Well, we recommend drastic procedures like bariatric surgery, stomach banding, and things like that for patients who are very, very obese, which we call is morbidly obese in terms with a BMI more than 45 or 50, and with medical problems. So in those patients, it becomes very urgent for us to reverse their diabetes, reverse their high blood pressure, and we do recommend surgery in them. But for most people, surgery is very drastic and it can be dangerous too. And it is much easier to lose weight based on the simple researches we know now that work, and using your own diet. So it becomes much easier for people to lose weight as long as we can eliminate the mixed marketing messages they are getting and put them on the right track.
I have a question about cholesterol, and I don't know that cholesterol is directly connected to weight loss or gain, but I wanted to ask you this because somebody said this, and I don't know, I'm just a radio guy. The statement was that when we do cholesterol tests on rabbits, and I don't know if it's the same thing for rats, but rabbits are usually used for cholesterol tests, I guess, and a rabbit's body does a different thing with cholesterol than humans do, and therefore the tests don't really apply to humans. What about what I just said is something you believe in or just don't agree with at all?
Well, here's the thing. We have limitation on how much testing we can do on humans, and that's the reason we do testing on animals. We do understand that, animal bodies may work differently than us, but based on the research, cholesterol is an issue, and we as humans never came down with a manual. So we have decided on ourselves what is a normal range of cholesterol, and as you would see, it keeps on changing. The authorities keep on adjusting the cholesterol levels based on more information and more research we get. But we do know that high cholesterol does cause heart disease and blockages. We do know that obesity and weight gain causes high cholesterol. And we also know that some of the medicine used to treat cholesterol also prolong life. So we know that fixing cholesterol is a good thing.
Did you have a problem with obesity? Is that why you are so passionate about this, or do you know someone personally that you've helped?
Well, in our medical field, we see that a lot of my patients, if they are obese, they are on much more medications than if they are not obese. And patients who don't have weight gain, or they are able to manage their weight into their middle ages and late ages, they are able to have a healthy and productive life. So our goal is to make sure that our patients get the right way to lose weight. And with the market full of mixed marketing messages and a lot of myths, it is very important that we should come up and help people understand the medical research which they cannot understand by themselves.
By the way, I just went to the website, and for the listeners, it is fatmenotbook.com, and you'll see the cover of the book, and there's also an offer to get an autographed copy there. Why is it the diet of the future? Why the future?
It is the diet of the future because the most of the weight loss diets we do, the low-carb diet, the low-fat diet, the HCG diet, all these researches were done in 1960s. And there's been a lot more advances in weight loss science. We have a better understanding how weight loss can happen easily. And we did put all this research into the book, and that's the reason it is the way to go for the future.
Can I ask you this question? How much should a person expect to lose per week, per month, per year? Is there a formula? I guess it depends on how overweight they are, right?
Yeah, it depends on how overweight they are, because people who are a lot more obese or overweight will lose a lot more in the beginning. But I do want to tell everybody that once you lose weight about 6-7 pounds, your body thinks that you are getting destroyed. And when the body thinks that, it will stop you from losing weight and try to bring you back up. And that is the time you should not get discouraged. You should keep on doing what you are doing. Once the body weight regulation center adjusts, it will let you lose another 7-8 pounds. And to answer your questions, about 1 to 2 pounds a week of weight loss is a healthy weight loss and is more likely to be sustainable than losing 5 to 10 pounds in 1 week or 2 weeks.
Okay, and that makes sense to me as well. Well, Doctor, thank you for a great interview. I know we don't normally talk about weight loss books this deep into the year because it's usually a January thing. But when I read the differences that you and your co-author, Dr. Nui, are talking about, it seemed like something our listeners would benefit from. So the book is on fatmenotbook.com. Is it on Amazon and the other places?
Yes, it's on Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Nobles, and also on Kindle.
Okay. Oh, Kindle. That's convenient. Okay. Well, Dr. Sandeep Grewal, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Well, thank you for having me.
We'll take a break. We will be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Celebrations in Israel for the right-wing Likud party.
Centrist left Zionist Union leader Yitzhak Herzog